Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Max and Yo-Yo. Today is pretty special because we have our second ever guest on this pod with us, and it is going to be a very, very intellectual, wonderful conversation. So strap in, get your popcorn, get whatever drinks you need to have because listen, you're going to need it. So without further ado, let me let Yo-Yo make the introductions.
All right, thank you, Max. And so today we're going to be talking about the other side of our conversation. So previously, we've always talked about the female, what is important in a relationship on the woman perspective. And so today I want to look at the guy's perspective. And so I want to see how the guys look at dating, how they think about relationship. And so in their journey from 20 something to 30 something. And so if they are their must-win battles or their important things they look at for a woman, for themselves, or for relationship, if it changes over the time. And so today we have our very good guest. His name is Sam. And so he'll be talking to us today about the guy's perspective. And so we've had this conversation earlier before when we looked at what it looks like for the 30 plus from the female side. And so today we want to ride on and see if there's something different from the woman's perspective in terms of relationship. And so, Sam, thank you for joining us today. And so we know we had a conversation behind the scene. We just wanted to ask one curious question for me to you. So I don't want to ask when you started dating, but I just want to say, did your priorities in dating or in relationship progress as you grew older? What were the qualities you think changed over the years?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Um, it's a pleasure being here. Um, so to go to the question, I think as you get older, your responsibilities and your priorities in life generally change. And as you get more experience, you drop some things by the roadside and you pick up more new stuff. So I think that applies to relationships as well. Personally, if I can remember the first relationship I would term as an adult relationship I had, I think my expectations then were very much different. I was in school and I wouldn't say I was dating to marry or anything. I would just say I wasn't really looking out for anything. It was just, oh, I saw this fine girl. I think she's attractive. And that was it, right? So this was first year in uni and that was basically what it was oh she's nice. I enjoy talking to her. She's pretty and yes, I like you. Let's date. And that was it, right? So as I got older, I finished school. That relationship actually lasted for 3 years. Well, I was pretty young, so I didn't really put a lot of effort into it or even I didn't have a future outlook for that relationship, to be honest. And I got older, I started working, I got a job and got into a second relationship, and that wasn't bad. I think at that point I was looking for a little more. I was looking for someone who was a little more intentional, and I started looking for someone who had the same interest as I did. So who goes to the gym, who likes to read, who is a homebody. So at this point, I had things I specifically looked out for in an individual, unlike the first one, which was just, I would say, vibes. So this one was more intentional in terms of like things I was looking out for and personality. I was also very much big on the personality. Um, so I guess that came as a result of me being more being older and being getting to know myself a little bit more and being more responsible. So I believe that as you get older and you continue to date, your expectation, the things you look out for, they change. I'm in my 30s now, and I can definitely tell you that what I looked out for when I was 25 is not the same thing right now, or what I looked out for when I was 20 it's definitely not the same thing. I'm on the point where I'm dating to get married. So definitely I'm even a lot more intentional in terms of who I'm going to be spending my time with, because in my head it's like, okay, this is like whoever you're dating at this point, you should be planning to get married to the person. So I'm a lot more intentional and I look out for more stuff, definitely.
I like that topic. I was listening very carefully, and you dropped a nugget there that I want to nibble on a little bit, and I think we should stew on it. Um, Dating to get married. Let's stay there. What
Okay.
does it look like? What does it mean when you say you're dating to get married? Because I think that there is a lot of different ideas out there, but I would like us to clarify what that statement actually means.
Okay. Should I go first or you guys you
Oh, you go.
Okay, okay. Well, I think dating to get married is very much different from just casual dating. And I think for me personally, dating to get married, I'm looking at a lot of things. Aside you being, I mean, my parents are pastors. I'm a Christian. I'm a religious person to an extent, and those things will guide my ideology of what a good woman should be. So definitely, I'm looking out for things like that. Are you a religious person? Are you God-fearing? I'm looking out for things like that. I'm looking out for kindness because I realize that it's easy to say I love you, I love you, I love you, but when you get married and the love fades, the kindness and you being a kind person comes into play, so I'm very big on kindness. Are you a very kind person? I'm looking out for things like that. These are things I would tell you at 25 I didn't look out for. I didn't care if you were kind or anything. It was just, it's whatever. So if we fight, we'll fight and we'll go our separate ways. But dating to get married is a place where if we are fighting, we are sitting down to have conversations to resolve them because this is the plan. The plan is not just to date and go our separate ways. The plan is to figure things out to the point where we can figure out life together. So that's dating to get married for me. Dating to get married for me is looking at who you are as a person in the overall sense of it. Like, are you educated? What are your goals in life? How can I come in? How can I be a part of your goals? How can I help you achieve them? How can you be a part of mine? How can you help me achieve them? How can we come together and build a team? Is this person a good team player? For me personally, that's what I look out for. Like, can I be a team with this person? Can we be good together in terms of ideologies, in terms of values? So I think values is something also that has become very important to me now, as opposed to before. It's like, what are your values? Are you someone who believes in honesty and perseverance? You believe in dividends of labor and hard work and all of those things? Or are you someone who feels like the world is just going to fall on your lap and you get your wishes, So those are the things that when I say dating to get married, to marry, those things now become very important to me. I'm not just playing around anymore. I'm not going to spend my time on the phone with someone that I know that, yeah, there's no future with this person, or I don't plan to have a future with this person. I don't have the time anymore. I'm in a place where I am being intentional with who I let into my space. So you have to have a lot of these qualities before I even let you into my space. And then I know that, okay, this is there's a prospect here. This is something that we can build on and hopefully can actualize a life together from. So yeah, that's my understanding of dating to marry.
Interesting. I think that a lot of the things that you said, and one of the reasons why we wanted to have this conversation is to balance, to strike a balance. You
Mhm.
know, if if people that are listening to us right now, you would see that many of those things that we've been saying from the female perspective, is many of the things that you're saying right now in terms of like being very intentional, being very, having the same values, the same set of values, that will help drive your relationship forward. So I think that that's very important to now hear the other side to say, hey, as I am trying to settle down, as I am looking to date to get married, this is what I'm looking out for in terms of, what are the values that push you. But if I were to ask a question, I would say, what are the values that you have now or you have cultivated through failed relationships over the years, something that have built you into the person that you are before? Because I know that you've mentioned, you were on vibes before, but steadily you've grown into the person that you are. So what are some of those key important lessons that you've taken away from those relationships, and
Well,
and what you hope to bring into the next stage?
okay. Well, I would say not just values. Personally, one thing I learned was that a lot of us are a result of nature or nurture.
Mm,
So nurture, how we are raised by our parents and immediate environment, and nature, our experiences. So a lot of us, like I came to Canada when I was 17. I've lived every second of my adult life in Canada. And then if you look at that and come and add it to the way I was raised, it would inform the type of person I become. And one of the things my previous relationships have taught me is how to unlearn and learn and relearn a few things, and how to forgiveness, a lot of forgiveness, and communication. I would say I was really bad with communication, and I think that's why my previous relationships had issues, because like I was very, and I guess again, going back to nature and nurture, the way I was raised was you don't talk. I didn't grow up in a house where I was explicitly expressing myself about how I felt about things or how to do things or anything. It was just a do what mommy and daddy says type of life. And maybe this is probably the reality of most Nigerian kids. So I got into relationships where I never really communicate properly. The communication was really poor. And as I got older, I had to adjust. I had to forgive my parents and forgive myself and understand that, hey, I'm an adult now. I need to work on my communication. You're not going to be in a relationship with another person and not be able to communicate properly with them. So I think that's one thing I learned from that. Also, another thing is forgiveness, being able to just forgive people without them even um asking you, because I realized that forgiving people is not about them, it's actually about you. So if you're able to forgive and just let go of things, it would help a lot. So those were issues that would come up, and those were things I picked up along the way, And another thing I would say is when it comes to the values or I guess these values make me who I am today, and the the things I look out for. I think one thing I would say I took that was a positive from my relationships, to be honest, was kindness. I learned to be a better person from those women, even though they're married now. But I did learn to be a better person because they were kind to me regardless of they especially taught me how to love. They taught me how to love. The only problem is I didn't open myself up to be vulnerable. As a man, being vulnerable is like a weakness for most Nigerian men.
mm,
Being vulnerable is a weakness. You want to be tough. You want to keep a straight face. I'm a very stoic person, so you
mm,
want to keep a straight face. You want to be hard. You want to be the tough guy. And I realized that had made me it led to a lot of issues because I was not vulnerable enough. I didn't let down my walls enough. And there is no way you can be in a genuine, loving, healthy relationship with anyone if you're not going to let down your walls, if you're not going to be yourself around them, if you're going to be uptight and all of that. So those women actually taught me to be vulnerable. They taught me to love with all of my essence, and enjoy every bit of it. And then the last thing I would say, they taught me to love myself. I
mm,
think one thing I always tell people now is love yourself. Love yourself, because nobody can love you more than you love yourself. So that's
mm,
one thing I actually look out for in women. Do you love yourself? If you're a woman who doesn't love herself, I have a problem with it, because I'm like, I don't know how to love you. I don't
mm,
know how I'm going to love you or where the love is going to start from, because you don't know how to love yourself. You don't. you don't know how to treat yourself right. So how do I even know that what I'm doing is making you happy, or it's a sign of love, you know? So I learned to love myself. They taught me to love myself to because you can't give what you don't have. If you don't
Mm.
love yourself, you can't love other people, and other people won't know how to love you. So that's from the personality side of things. In the other side of things, um, I lived with one of them. We lived in a house together, and I guess it taught me to be a better man in the sense that we lived together for over a year, and our names were on the list together. We did everything together, and I understood what it meant to be a provider. I'd say I understood what it meant to be a provider for the first time, because now I had to step in and take that role. And I was working in a I I I would say this was the first time I had to double my hustle as a man. This was the first time I had to double my hustle as a man because living together just we I just didn't want us to be in a place where, oh, we didn't have this, or we couldn't do this, or we couldn't do that. So I wanted us to be very comfortable.
Mm.
And it reinforced the idea of hard work. Because I won't lie, I mean, I came here as a teenager, so I always had everything I wanted. My parents always provided, always gave the money, and I was living, I would say lavish, but I was living extremely good. And I never really felt the need to, oh, you need to do this or do that. It just felt like everything was going smoothly and everything would fall on my lap. But then I realized that when someone else is on the picture, that's not how it works. So it taught me to actually strive more, strive for better, and not just that. It taught me to dream big, to be honest. So I'm a big dreamer. I believe in hard work. I believe in pushing boundaries and thriving as much as you can. So those
Okay,
these are these are all
I
things
love
I
a
learned.
lot of things that you said, and I'm sorry to cut in, but there are two things that you said that I actually want us to take a step back and, noodle on a little bit,
Hmm.
because you've dropped a lot of nuggets, and I hope that people who are taking the time to listen, are getting value out of someone else's experience. I am a very big proponent of that. You don't need to make the mistakes. You can learn from other people's mistakes. So
Absolutely.
if
Yeah.
somebody is listening to this pod and is saying, hey, I'm hearing what he's dropping and I'm taking it in stride, that would really, really be happy with me. Then the second thing that came to mind when you were talking was learning to unlearn, relearn. How did you say it? Learning to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And
Hmm.
sometimes we come across people who say things like, "This is who I am. I am this way. You have to love me for myself. You have to love me my truth or whatever." And I've always said that that is a lazy man's defense, because if you get called out for your bad attitude, you should be able to put in the work to do better. Only people who are not willing to put in the work, you hear them say, "Oh, this is who I am. Take me as I am. Take me as I am." That is not a good way to look at things. But then you said
Hmm.
something that had me to pause. Love yourself. And you said, if you're a woman who doesn't love themselves, how can I love you? And then I have to ask the question, do men really know how to spot women who don't love themselves? And what does that look like from your perspective?
Uh, okay. I think this my answer might be different from every other person. So don't don't quote me don't quote me on this. But I just feel like people who love themselves, regardless whether you're a woman or you're or a man, people who love themselves, you can tell when you have conversations with them. You can tell that the people who love themselves are usually in my opinion, they're very confident. They're very confident. They are not swayed by the opinions of people. That's one thing. They're not swayed by the opinions of people. They're very confident. They take out time for personal life. They take out time for like they have goals and they are actively chasing after them, and they take out time to they spend time with themselves. They are very conscious of their health. They're very conscious of their spiritual growth. They're very conscious of self-development. I think that's exactly what I'm saying. I am very much into people who are about self-development, about, oh, I need to change this about myself. I need to do this better. I need to do this. I need to spend this time on myself. I need to unwind. That's what it is for me. So if you're someone who's big on self-development, who is always striving to be better, to be a better version of yourself, and you're taking out time, you're not someone who's always, because it's one thing to strive to be better, but you also have to know there's a I guess a limit when it comes to pushing yourself too hard. You have to know that you don't have to beat yourself up. You're in tune with yourself. People who are very much in tune with themselves. And if you're that kind of person, I think it's easy to spot people like that. I don't think it's difficult to spot people like that. People like that will, if you have conversations with them, you'll be able to tell that, oh, you know what, this person really loves themselves, you know. So that's how I judge it, you know. That's the lens I look at it from.
Well, thank you so much. This has been really riveting. This has been really great. Yo-Yo, what do you think?
Well, I just sat and I was just taking in every word you were saying was just making sense from the man's
Oh, please
perspective.
don't make me seem like a wise wise
Oh
person.
no, so it is not the wisdom, is your intentionality, is the fact that you gave yourself feedback. I'm a big person on feedback. The fact that you gave yourself the feedback, the fact that you had to pause and think and reflect on your past, your present, and what your future should look like, right? So that's what I'm really pleased with. So turning the spotlight on you, it's very important. And you've been able to do this over again and over again, and then you're still doing it, still learning. It's so amazing. So thank you so much for one, being vulnerable and being very open and not being artificial with your conversation. It was just real, it was just pouring from North Shore to Nation, you know. So thank you for that. And so thank you, followers, subscribers, community 30 plus click for connecting with us today. It's been a beautiful session, and I promise you, stay tuned for part 2, gang gang. So Sam, this is another invitation for session 2, because you did not touch this thing. You were just crashing. We need to get to the middle of it, and so we are definitely inviting you for round 2. Okay, I'm sure Max is with me on that, right?
Course, I would want to learn what it looks like dating now in your 30 plus, but we didn't get to have this because our time is fast running out.
Hmm.
Have like a time budget for each episode, but for sure we'll be coming back with part 2 to have that conversation. What your dating experience is looking like right now.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
hang it there. So thank you. We love the fact that you like our post. We love the fact that you've subscribed. You're now part of the 30 plus community. We love the fact that you've liked, you've shared. We really appreciate that. And so we still want to appeal to you. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep commenting. We appreciate you. And so we wish you a wonderful, beautiful week. Take care and
All
bye.
right, bye everyone.
Bye.